right, you guys are up to, potentially your last home game here. So, what are your thoughts on going into this last game of the year with where you guys are at?
Well, we've kind of been there a couple times, feeling like it's been going to be the last home game here. But again, it's still just getting back and focusing in on your opponent is the biggest thing. I know UTEP has a lot to play for. I know they're really excited to come here and play. I know they'll battle it out, and so we're really focused in on them, and more so focused in on doing our jobs. That's the one thing that we have to do a better job of is executing and playing disciplined, and we got to do a good job of that this week.
Is there a lot of drive with the guys to kind of finish on a high note this year?
Yeah, you got an opportunity, and who knows what'll happen moving forward after this game. But you have an opportunity to play another. You get an opportunity to play, and that's been the biggest thing. Is just having, the guys being excited to be able to go out there and compete and get a week better, get a day better. But two, it's a big game for us. One, because it's our next, and two, gives us an opportunity to finish out with some momentum, and hopefully, unless we get another opportunity to play, which will allow us to hopefully finish up the season on a high note. So there's a lot to play for.
Has it settled in at all that, y'all really only missed one conference game, and y'all have gotten through now this will be y'all's 9th game of the year. Just has it started to settle in at all that y'all have been able to get through this really weird season?
It's been strange, week in and week out. I know it's been a grind on everybody. Coaches, players, figuring out who's in, who's out, throughout the week, and with just all the different protocols. It's been challenging, but again, I still go back. We're thankful and we're blessed to have the opportunities. Not everybody had the opportunities to play 9 games and or football at all, and so just being grateful and just understanding what you have and what you come out to work for every day is important.
You mentioned that the possibility of maybe this being your last game. You guys hold out hope that maybe with the bowl eligibility requirements being rescinded this year, that maybe you have an opportunity to play another game?
Yeah, who knows? I think there could be, and that's for the conference to decide ultimately, or the bowls. Again, I'm really focused in on this game, and then trying to control this one, control what we can control, and then afterwards we'll kind of see where everything's at.
And what just describe UTEP and their overall abilities. I know they're a physical team this year, but with Dimmel, just what do you know about them?
Yeah, they're well coached. They play physical. I think offensively, have good running backs. They're big physical guys that get downhill. I think they have some playmakers at receiver. I think their quarterback's doing a really good job for them this year, trying to manage it. And you're running that system. And then defensively, they've been good up front. I think they have really good D linemen, big guys that can plug up gaps. That and their strength in the secondary has been, I think they've played really solid this year. And then special teams are always going to be solid. And so, offensively, and try to chew that clock up, run the ball, play that physical game, and defense, they make plays. So, again, I think they're a solid team. I think, they'll be coming in here ready to play, and we'll get their best.
And they've obviously been able to compete with La Tech and Charlotte and have 3 wins this year. Just, is there anything specifically they're doing better than they've done in years past where they've obviously struggled?
Well, I think biggest thing is just, being in their system longer, and being around their coaches and their system. And again, it comes down to execution on all 3 sides of the game. And they're doing a much better job of just, I think, understanding their systems and executing it. And so, again, Dana does a great job. The culture's kind of set there at their place now, and I think they understand what to expect. And, they've had some young guys in the past that have grown up and become good players.
Garden makes the semifinalists for the Bolitnikoff. That's such a big honor to be, one of the top 11 guys in there. Can you just talk about, that honor for him and what it means to your guys' program?
Yeah, it's awesome. He deserves it. I'll tell you what, again, I've said it a number of times, the amount of work he puts into this game, and there's a reason why he goes out there and makes the plays he does on Saturdays. And so he's been an unbelievable guy to coach, he deserves it. I think the plays he's made this year, the touchdowns he's made, the yards, the receptions, and only playing now 8 games, fixing to go on 9. I think he's had a phenomenal year.
Thinking back to his recruitment, what do you kind of remember about that process, and what really drew you guys to Jalen Darden, the high school player?
Well, it was late in recruiting, to be honest. I think we had a spot open up there late in recruitment, and just going out and evaluating different guys that we had on the board. He played more quarterback in high school. He was kind of a quarterback athlete, and you could see it on tape. I think a lot of people were scared off by his size. Wasn't his athleticism or his playmaking abilities. It was just how big was he. And I've been around plenty of those guys in the past to where we've had success with some of those guys, and I knew with his speed and athleticism, he would be a great fit in our system, and it worked out for us. Again, he's one of
a lot
those.
of guys who put up these kind of numbers, right? Like you mentioned, they are these big guys you can kind of go over the top with. I mean, especially, given the context of sort of the issues that you guys have had at quarterback this year, how has he been able to be so just sort of ridiculously consistent?
Well, he understands what defenses are trying to do more so than he has ever in his game. I think he's really worked on that in the offseason with him and Coach Maynard, understanding coverages, understanding where the seams are, where the grass is. And he's just a really smart player. I think that's been kind of the last piece of the puzzle he's had to figure out, is just understanding truly the coverages, the defenses. And he's done a great job. And again, we've moved him around from inside to outside. He's done both, and he's just become a really well-rounded receiver in everything he does. And I think it starts with his work, though, the work he puts in not only on the field but in the meeting rooms and understanding what defenses are trying to do.
Was there a point earlier in his career where, you've had so many talented receivers come through this program, obviously. Was there a point that you realized that he might have a chance to be one of the best?
Yeah, early on, really early on, just with his explosion and with his speed. And you get him out in space. I mean, he's extremely hard to tackle. And so, I've known he's going to have a great chance to be one of the best. And he's proven that. And again, you really understand that when you know him. It's not only how athletic he is, and again, he's extremely smart, but just the competitive nature he has. I mean, just the edge he plays with each and every day he goes out on the practice field and the game field. It's special. And, you wish all your guys had it, but, I mean, again, the way he plays, I mean, there's not many guys in the country that can do it consistently.
Why after, this is such a complicated season, so many guys are kind of, for good reason, distracted, obviously. Why is this kind of the year that he's been able to, especially on the mental side, like you mentioned, why is this the year that he's been able to prepare like this and put it together?
Well, he's been preparing over the years, don't get me wrong. It's not like he just all of a sudden woke up this year and said, I'm going to work really hard. No, that's not the case. He's always put in the work. But again, you look at a guy that, you're in the system now. This is his 4th year. He's made a lot of plays, his confidence. Just kind of it clicks, especially with guys that work the way they do, and it's clicked for him this year. And again, not that it hadn't in the past. He's again made a ton of plays for us, but I just think the overall knowledge of football, the confidence and understanding where to be on our concepts has made him special.
Is there anybody that he kind of reminds you of? I mean, obviously you've coached a lot of great receivers over the years.
I get asked that a bunch on quarterbacks, receivers, all that. I don't like to compare people to others. I don't think it's fair to anybody. I just know he's one of the best ones I've coached. He's a special player, and it's been an honor.
Hey, Seth, I want to ask you 2 quick things. The first one is, in light of the way this season has gone, opt-out, canceled games, postponed games, can you evaluate players in your team the way you normally would? Or you just sort of look at it and say, this is an aberration because of the circumstances?
Everybody's getting evaluated. It doesn't matter the situation. You're always getting evaluated. I am as a coach. They are as players. We are as a program. That's part of life, and there's no doubt you can evaluate. And it's not only, the way guys work, the amount of effort they put into it, to playing, to growing up, to maturing. There's a ton of evaluations, not only on players but over our overall program. We're always continuing to have to look at, and so, yeah.
Last thing, a couple of years, we're in that time of the year. Well, we're getting towards that time of the year where coaches move around. For good or bad, they move around. A couple of years ago, you had a look at Kansas State. You stayed here, you've done pretty well. When you look back at that, Seth, why was staying here ultimately the right decision for you and your family?
Well, just the administration, the guys I come to work with every single day, the resources they give you to be successful, our players, the community. There's lots of things that go into it. I'm extremely happy at North Texas. I have a great relationship with Ren, with our president, our donors, and to me, it's about being at a place to where you love going to work every single day. You like the people you're around, and they're giving you the resources necessary, whether it's within our program or the resources outside to where recruiting base. I understand you have tons of guys around here and recruits that you can go out and get, and so it's just been a great place. Me and my wife love it.
Thanks.
One of the guys that's coming to maybe the tail end of his career is Dion Hare-Griffin, who's been with you for 5 years now. What impact has he made just for the program and the athletic department?
He's made a big impact. I mean, he's been a great special teams player for us. He's made a lot of big plays on some of the return games and really all of our teams. He was a special teams player of the week last week. He made some great plays for us. And shoot, not a lot of people know this, but as of right now, because of our protocols, he's our team chaplain on the road or at home games, before games. And he's made a huge impact on this team, not only as a player, but the relationships he's built, the mentorship, the mentoring side of things. He's always grabbing guys, and he's just very mature, and he's been special. He's a great young man, I should say, and he's been an honor to coach as well.
Yeah, hasn't he been real involved in the off-field stuff with Student Athletic Advisory Committee and different things like that as well?
Absolutely, he has. And again, with that and with FCA, and again, like I said, we call him Preach. He's our team chaplain, and he's done a lot of things for this program. He's extremely smart. He cares. It's important to him. He loves this university. And like I said, guys like that, they're special.
Was it fun to see him out there back returning kickoffs? I mean, that seems to be like the one thing that he really has excelled at, and he had an opportunity this last game. Was it good to see him back out there, and why did you decide to do that?
Well, one, he's made a lot of plays for us in the past, and again, with his speed, he can take it to the house, and that's what you're looking for. And and it's not for everybody. Just because you have speed back there, it's different when 11 guys are running down the field trying to hit you real hard. You got to have some. You got to have something inside of you that's going to, hit it up in there, and you're going to get whacked at times. But I think he's just been comfortable over the years. The amount of reps he's gotten at it. He's made big time plays for us on that unit, and again, all our special teams. And unfortunately, at times he's had some injuries that wouldn't allow us to utilize him back there because of some of those hits you'll take. But just him being back healthy, knowing that he can withstand it, it was just an opportunity for us to get us back there.
You have a better feeling at this point in the year who you'll have back next season among those seniors that could come back?
Yeah, but again, yes. I mean, obviously we have a good idea, and we go over the roster and we look at who's coming, who's returning, and who may not. And so it's always an evaluation. But I'm more focused in on UTEP as of right now, and we'll kind of handle the rest as we move forward shortly in the off season.
You mentioned the offseason. I mean, this isn't where you guys anticipated being at the beginning of the year. As you look back on it, I know you probably haven't done a full evaluation, but what do you think has been the issue this year that's kind of given you guys some problems, maybe where you end up where you're not 500 or better in the season?
I think there's a lot of issues. One, we got to coach better. Two, young guys have to grow up. Three, we got to stay healthy. That's been a huge part. Defensively, not only with some injuries, but there's been a lot of games. I mean, I think there's been now 3 to where we didn't have a lot traced or a lot out due to some of that stuff. And so There's a ton that goes into it. We got to do a better job. And you're right. This isn't the standard. This isn't my expectations or any of our expectations. So we got to grow from it. Continue to grow up, get better, and find a way to get back on track to go into bowl games, winning championships. That's the standard, and I understand it. Trust me.
One of those young guys that's played, that's become a bigger part of the offense has been Jake Roberts, obviously freshman. Just what have you seen from him, and just how do you project that he's going to continue to improve?
Well, I think he's going to be. He has a chance to be a really, really special player, and I think a lot of it, and this is with anybody, is how much do you love ball? How much work are you willing to put in it? What's your mindset? Meaning, are you timid when you go in there? Are you confident? Are you physically ready? And he's all that. He's a confident kid that, is extremely smart, understands what we're trying to get accomplished, and he's done some really good things for us. I'm really excited about his future.
As you look at what happened this year defensively, there was some excitement about, having a new coordinator, some good young players coming in. Did it just take a little more time than maybe you anticipated to kind of settle in defensively?
Yeah, I mean, be honest, yeah, it did. And there's some, I think it's challenging. You come in with a new coaching staff, you don't have a spring ball, you're trying to figure out who you have throughout fall camp. We had some guys maybe defensively that they felt like were in the right positions that maybe weren't. And so just trying to piece it together. And then, the biggest thing is making sure that, everybody understands the scheme. The guys you have, what can they do well? What's going to be the strengths and the weaknesses of the defense, meaning, and some of it's personnel. And so I think there's a lot that goes into it. I have a lot of confidence in Coach Bowen. I know he's a great coach, and he's like us. I mean, we're going to get it done, and I know he will. It's going to be great to have an off season. I think 25% of our team has never been through or has been through one off season, and the rest of them haven't been through any off seasons. And so we need it. We need an off season to where we can get those guys in the weight room. We can really reset our culture the way it needs to be set. And we can get that work in that we need to make sure we get on track. So I'm really excited about this off season. I think we'll make a big jump because of it.
Hey, Seth, was losing Graham Harrell that big of a deal? I know fans like to look when a guy leaves, and if the team doesn't maintain that level of success or production, it must be because of that guy left. What do you put into that?
I think Graham's an unbelievable coach. There's no doubt. Anytime you lose coaches, it can hurt just because you're having to replace them. And at the end of the day, and that's not only Graham, but we've had a lot of coaches, and we haven't lost anything but Power 5 jobs. But the more you lose, the more guys you're having to bring in and hire, and you're having to coach coaches, coach players, understanding what you want. And so, there's always a bump in the road per se, just to get everybody on the same page, coaching together, getting everybody comfortable, which is challenging, but that's part of the business. I think Graham's a great coach, but offensively, our production, you look over the years, it's continued to be there or get better. So, we miss all those coaches that went on and had great opportunities, but at the same time, we've hired great coaches. So that's where we're at.
What's your thought on the way your quarterback situation played out with playing two guys throughout the year? Were you happy with the way that turned out?
I think they're both getting experience. They're both, that game rep experience, because that's the most important thing. I think they're both getting more comfortable. I think each week's been better in practice, whether we performed that way in a game or not. Some we did, some we didn't. I thought this past week, Bean was much better. I thought he managed the game better. I thought he threw some of the tags and saw the field better than he had the previous week, and that's what you're looking for. I will say this: both of them they've had great days this week, and and I think that's part of it. That position, it's challenging, and the more game reps you get, it's no different than Mason early on. There's games that he struggled, and that's part of it with inexperienced guys. But as you get those reps, the more comfortable you get, the more confidence you get, the better you are. And so I'm excited about, again, both those guys, and feel like we have guys we can win with.